Likewise, you could be entitled to the full credit if you never filed a tax return in 2019 or 2020. The third round of stimulus checks is worth up to $1,400 per person if your AGI is $75,000 or less as a single filer, or $160,000 or less as a joint filer. Families are entitled to $1,400 per dependent for dependents of any age. Now you'll need to complete the recovery rate tax credit worksheet and submit it as part of your 2021 tax return in order to claim this $1,400 stimulus check, everybody. After months of negotiations, Democrats are now preparing to take a final shot at approving a slimmer climate and spending bill. Tim Kaine of Virginia told Insider that the fact is that we haven't been able to come up with something that we can agree on yet. And it's just shocking to me. They face a tricky situation balancing competing demands from Sinema and Manchin of West Virginia, and they can't afford to lose either vote in the 50-50 Senate, since they must all agree behind a bill to pass it over the fence of GOP opposition. Now, taxes are especially difficult sticking point with two centrists holding often opposing views. Sinema has been steadfast in opposition to Democrats to increase tax rates on wealthiest Americans and large companies, but rolling back the 2017 GOP tax cuts and stepping up taxes on the richest people have been a key Manchin priority. It's unclear if Democrats will ultimately be able to bridge those differences and clinch a deal. In addition to raising taxes on the wealthy, Manchin wants to empower the federal government to negotiate prescription prices, secure new spending on all of the above energy policy that includes fossil fuels. Politico also reported that talks are happening between the White House and Manchin. The Biden administration has not laid out any goals, and congressional Democrats also trying to play it safe. Joe Manchin has started voicing fresh skepticism about key White House aim, requiring most vehicles sold by 2030 to be powered by electricity. Sinema, for her part, has cracked the door open to voting for a slimmer bill, without laying out specifics. Folks, what are your thoughts on this fourth stimulus check from President Biden, the Democrats, and the Republicans? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below.
Stability. As we have seen in Ukraine, Russia has completely violated the set of international rules and norms established after World War II, which provided unprecedented peace and security in Europe. In the face of Russian brutality, the world has come together to say these roles and these rules and norms must be upheld. I am heartened to see such strong affirmation of their importance. At the same time, our administration is working to establish new rules and norms for the new challenges of the 21st century. Areas like emerging technologies, cybersecurity, and of course, space. In December, I convened the first National Space Council meeting under our administration. As the chair of the council, I made this issue a point of emphasis. I believe without clear norms, we face unnecessary risks in space. The United States will continue to be a leader in order to establish, to advance, and demonstrate norms for the responsible and peaceful use of outer space. I've met with leaders from around the world, countries like Singapore and France, Bahrain and India, and I've raised this issue. It is clear there is strong interest among our international partners to develop these norms. We must write the new rules of the road, and we will lead by example. Today, we are taking a major step forward in this effort, a step that specifically addresses the problem.
Will pay taxes deserve a break. Many Biden administration officials acknowledge the goal is to make the expanded child tax credit permanent, but the initial plan was to extend it for years. In his remarks, Biden called the expanded child tax credit transformative and the right and smart thing to do. One White House official said, "We are confident we'll get the bill back better passed. Extending the child tax credit is one of the main reasons we need to do it now." So everybody, Republicans and Democrats, are continuing to negotiate over this, and I believe that President Biden can make this change happen and send out stimulus relief checks.
Both are calling from their office. Senator Warnock from Georgia. Thank you so very much, Chairman Brown. We are in the middle of a housing crisis, and this is true obviously all across the country, but it is especially true in Georgia. We're certainly feeling it all across my state where constituents are facing difficulties finding affordable housing in the Atlanta area and all across the state. And in this time of difficulty, some corporate landlords have been aggressively issuing eviction notices. Between January and April of 2021, in the middle of a pandemic, Pretium Partners and its subsidiaries filed 155 evictions in DeKalb County alone. Ventron Management has filed for eviction against the tenants of Brooks Crossing Apartments a total of 427 times since April of 2020. I'm happy to see Mr. Waller here, a fellow Georgian.
Well, I was saying, in a release I saw, Mayor, you mentioned ARPA money is going to be set aside to pay at least for a portion of this. Any idea in terms of figures, how much of the city's amount of ARPA money will go toward this? How much from the infrastructure bill will pay for what Youngstown is going to have happen?
Sure, that's a great point. Actually, we want to take what we have in ARPA funds and leverage with these funds as well. So we don't have an exact number. We're working on some projects. We have numbers. Harry Johnson's here at Water, and we're trying to figure out what that number looks like. I think this is going to help us continue to help grow the number of families that we can further impact with these dollars. So I'm excited about taking a portion of what we already have and then leveraging with those more federal dollars so that we can have a greater impact on the families that we have.
One more question, if I can, for either you or whomever. We've seen in other parts of Mahoney County and Sebring where they've had a lead pipe problem from the street to the people's homes and had problems paying, homeowners had to pay for that. Is this something where homeowners will not have to pay to have these pipes replaced?
Okay, thanks. The goal of this, when we finally realized we had a president and a Senate that were going to move on an infrastructure bill, and we worked with Senator Portman in the Senate and Congressman Ryan in the House, we knew that we had public health issues to fix. These 600,000 lead pipes and the pipes contaminated with lead in Ohio. We also knew that how important it was to create jobs, and that's the Buy America provisions. We also knew how important it was to manage costs for families, just like this Senate is dedicated to bringing down the cost of prescription drugs, especially for diabetics. That's the one that's the most top of mind, but for